Hi, and welcome to the EDM Beat Podcast. I'm Anita Malhotra, and I'll be featuring in-depth interviews with electronic dance music artists and industry professionals from around the world. On today's edition of the EDM Beat Podcast, I'm excited to feature an interview with Julius Arth, a 27-year-old DJ and producer based in Italy. He released his first single in 2020 and has gone on to produce many exciting tracks in the dance and tech house genres that highlight his passion for sound design. As a DJ, Julius has performed at clubs and events in Amsterdam, Ibiza, Italy, and London, including 3 times at London's iconic Ministry of Sound. Hi, Julius, and welcome to the EDM Beat Podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anita. I'm doing good. I'm pretty good. And you?
Doing well, thanks. Can you tell me a bit about your early years, where you were born and brought up, and how you got started in music?
I was born actually in Milan, which is far a bigger city than the one I'm living in at the moment. I'm living now in Vercelli, which is a small town halfway between Turin and Milan in the north of Italy. But I always lived here since when I was a child. I kind of found myself interested in music since my early years when I was like 6 or 7. And I started playing the piano and the keyboard and continued studying piano, taking piano lessons with classical music for like 8 years until I was 14, 15. Then I was looking for something more, I was looking for something more exciting. In those years, we were like 2012, 2013, when the classical EDM songs popped out and artists like David Guetta, Swedish House Mafia, and all those kind of artists. I was actually listening to their songs. And after 1 year, where I took lessons both on drums and on sound designing, I started making my own music and playing, at home with a small controller. That was before getting my first gigs. I had my first gigs like when I was 17, in the town club.
What did you get out of making electronic music as opposed to the classical music that you were doing before?
It was far more exciting. I liked it a lot. There was much more passion into it. There was more movement, and I really like, the groove in a song, which is where I'm taking all my songs at the moment with the tech house approach and also blending electronic dance. I try to maximize the groove. So bass lines, toms, kick. It was something that I missed in classical music because there is not enough groove if you intend in percussions. Yeah, that's the main difference, I think.
I was wondering how you went about choosing your artist name of Julius Arth.
That's a pretty fun and long story because I had another name before 2020, which I won't tell at the moment. But let's say that after finishing my studies, I studied sports sciences first, and then I studied music at SAE later. But after finishing my first studies, I decided to change the artist name and doing something completely different from the classical EDM I was doing. I wanted something that could represent me. So with my English version of my own name, which actually is Giulia in Italian, and the translate in English is Julius. Art came from 2 things. The first one is art. Music is art, and is even visual, it could be art, photography, so arts in general. The second one comes from a more funny thing, it's from the Arthurian cycle, which is something that I always loved since when I was a child, and I wanted something, particular and special that could make the second part of the name stand out and remarkable.
Oh. How would you describe your music and the genres that it fits into?
It's kind of niche, actually. It's not really EDM, old EDM or old tech house, because it's kind of different from classical tech house, from classic tech house. It's more of a blend between electronic dance and tech house, especially in the bass line, kick, and percussion. It's really take that tech house and house feeling into it. But at the same time, it blends these two big genres, taking also influences from the classic club and techno culture.
Are there any particular artists that you're influenced by in your work?
Yeah, I'm pretty inspired by Swedish House Mafia. They have always been my, reference artists since when back in 2013 I was looking for something more.
Hmm.
I would say actually even at the moment Swedish House Mafia and all the artists that are in that kind of niche, you know.
Would you say that your music has any Italian influences, or is it pretty international?
I'd say that's pretty international because I'm not really into Italian music at the moment, except for some really slight influence from pop music, Italian pop music, but not so much into it, you know. Yeah, more international.
Tell me about your studio and the digital audio workstation that you work with.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm quite versatile because during the years I switched from Ableton to Studio One to Logic to even something with Cubase, and now I'm back to Ableton because
Hmm.
it's really easy to use, you know, especially in production, in music production workflow. It's really fast, immediate in something. It's really good. But sometimes I found myself mixing and mastering maybe in Studio One or even in Luna from Universal Audio. I found it really interesting for mixing and mastering purposes. And yeah, I love even experimenting with synths, but I don't have them in my own studio. But sometimes I go to other friends, experiment with the Moogs and other hardware.
Do you have a usual way of working on a song? Like, do you start with the vocals or with the rhythm, or is it different for every song?
Many times it's different from time to time, and but I find myself usually trying to start with the core elements or kick and bass line if I don't have any ideas, or kick a normal sub and the melody, which could be a vocal or a synth. It depends. It's either of the two ways.
You mentioned that you took a course in sound design early on. Can you tell me about your interest in sound design and how it appears in your work?
I took several courses actually, and I really love the idea of sculpting the sound because it's like, when an artist make a sculpture, the same thing in music, you have to sculpt the sound the way you want it to sound. You have to shape it, and sound design, it's what really make a sound stands out because, there is really too much music at the moment in every genre, and you have to stand out in some way from the others. And sound design is the answer because you can make really whatever sound you want. If you know what you're doing, you can take the direction and go straight to it. For example, I use a lot Dune and Serum as softwares, synthesizers, and they're both really good. They have slight different sounds, but they're both really versatile. Lately, I prefer Dune. It has a more, more warmth, I think. And the Serum does sounds more digital to me.
And you also have said in some of your material that you like to create unique sounds. How do you go about finding those sounds, and how do you know when you found one that you like?
You try. Maybe you stay there 1, 2 hours just trying sounds and melodies, you put down a kick and a basic bass just to have a rhythm underneath. And then you write down some ideas, some scratch ideas, just a loop of it. So it doesn't take too long. You loop it and you try the melody. When you find with an easy sound a melody that you think could work, at that moment you try sound design to change the sound and make it special. Usually I work this way.
How does your music help you express yourself?
Purely from inspiration, because inspiration comes from really everything. Sometimes I take inspiration from a book, other times I take it from other music or movies or other things. My persona is built on my experiences and also on what I'm reading, watching, listening to. So that's a kind of way. Another one is, for example, writing lyrics. I have, for example, one song that it's not out yet because I'm in talk with some pretty good label and big label. But there's a lyrics that talk about the future that is unknown. We craft our own future. That's the meaning of it. And that's something I'm really both proud and that I care about.
Mhm. As a DJ, what is it that you like most about DJing events?
Okay, that's a good question actually, because I started before as a DJ than a producer. After playing my first gigs, I realized I wanted to produce my own things. And the thing I like the most, it's the environment. The environment and the ambience with the crowd, their response to your music, to your selection, and yeah, the relationship in that environment that evolves during the night.
Have you noticed any difference in the different countries that you have DJed in terms of the crowd or the atmosphere?
Yeah, actually, here in Italy, it's almost, club culture is almost that. Every DJ, every Italian DJ would say that. But even playing at Amsterdam or Ibiza or London, it changes a lot, even going to different clubs or to different cities. For example, I know for sure that London is something really special because it's a multicultural city, not only the crowd. I found that Italian people, Chinese people, English people all together. Maybe someone was on holiday or was planning to go at Minister of Sound for the event. And it's really special. It's really cool. It's kind of like a festival, but really, really much smaller. But Amsterdam, it's really in my heart. I love the scene there. It's really strong for electronic music.
For sure. What were some of the most exciting moments in your career so far?
Well, for sure, the times playing at Minister of Sound Club. It's really a beautiful one, but also this ADE 2024 has been really good, really, really good. Yeah. I met many people from the industry, both other artists or managers or other figures, and I played at two shows. It was kind of, funny and exciting also. It's the best. There's also IMS in Ibiza, and I'm planning to go there for the second time. But IMS, however, it's smaller. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's everything in the same place, so it's easier to connect, but it's far more smaller than AD.
What are some of the challenges associated with promoting and releasing your work?
I'd say on one side, the expenses, because you have to really pay attention and schedule a budget plan. You have to do a 360 motion. You have to promote it on Spotify. You have to have your own contacts, maybe on DJs to do some DJ promos or use a service to do DJ promos. You have to promote it even on TikTok and Instagram, even on blogs, magazines, and other stuff like that. So you have really to focus and pay attention on many, many things. You have to schedule and organize everything.
Does it take up a lot of your time to do all that?
The managing part really takes always much time because you have to do it because it's a business. Yeah, you're a creator, you're creating music, you're creating something, but it's a business fundamentally.
What are you working on right now, and what are your plans for the future musically?
At the moment, I'm working on like 7, 8 tracks between my own and collaborations with other artists. I finally refined my own sound and I know exactly the direction I'm taking. In fact, I'm planning to all the 7 or 8 tracks to release them in 2025, not before. Maybe I'll release one again by the end of 2024, but I'm not sure at the
Mhm.
moment.
AI has been a hot topic in music and other areas of life in the last year. Do you have any thoughts on AI in terms of your own work or just in general?
I think it could be a great help in some sort of things. Maybe, for example, in my project, I'd say that I could use AI to maybe do an official video for the song, for example, not really a super interesting video, but maybe taking the artwork and make it move and then give it movement. So to make a small video for the song to put out on YouTube. But other than that, I won't do anything because, I don't like the idea of using it for creating music. If it's for creating a sample, yeah, I could try that. But for creating an entire song, I wouldn't use it because, it takes out all the excitement of, creating something from scratch on your own. You lack the excitement if you do it all with AI. That's my opinion.
Where can people find your music or more information about you?
Everywhere, I'm on Spotify. Then you can go even on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, because I build also the profile page there. And I'm planning to do a strong promotion on every channel by next year.
Thanks so much, Julius, and I wish you the best with your musical future and your new releases next year.
Thank you too for having me.
I've been speaking with Italian DJ and electronic music producer Julius Arth. Our interview was conducted on November 6, 2024. The theme music you're hearing is by producer and composer Oliver Michael. This is Anita Malhotra signing off for EDM Beat. Thank you for listening.